Declassified intelligence reports, they say, show a coordinated plan and years-long coup at the highest level of government to create and manufacture false intelligence that President Trump colluded with Russia during the 2016 election. This morning, there are also reports the FBI's role was to spread that narrative even before its actual controversial investigation.
Think about it. You've got the head of the CIA briefing the President of the United States, the Attorney General, the head of the ODNI, about a plan hatched by the Clinton campaign to dirty up, to vilify President Trump. And then, lo and behold, 6 months later or so, there's these allegations that came forward showing that this plan was hatched with this fabricated information that came forward, this false intel report, for the sole purpose of undermining the President of the United States.
John Brennan's own notes from a meeting back in 2016 where he reportedly briefed President Obama, James Comey, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and James Clapper on a plan from a Clinton campaign advisor to, quote, vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service.
Former House Oversight Committee Chair and Intel Committee member Trey Gowdy questioned CIA Director Brennan about all of this during what became known as the Russia investigation.
Do you know whether any of the underlying allegations made in the Steele dossier were ever tested, probed, examined, cross-examined, whether the sources were examined for reliability, credibility?
I know that there were efforts made by the Bureau to try to understand whether or not any of the information in that was valid, but I don't have any firsthand knowledge of it.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done.
John Brennan's problem is that in one place, behind closed doors, he's saying that it was included in the report, that he wanted it to be included in the report. And then on the other hand, he's saying they didn't need it. Oh, we had so much evidence. We didn't need the dossier, which we all know was a Clinton-funded piece of campaign material, Oppo research, essentially.
Well, I knew he was lying then. I mean, that was an open hearing, Martha. So as you know, you can't discuss classified information. But if you will look over my shoulder at that hearing, you'll see a familiar face, one Kash Patel, the current FBI director. We knew that Brennan was lying. That's why I wanted him on record. They relied heavily on the dossier. John Brennan knew all about the dossier. So Comey's a little bit different because we don't have him on tape quite like we do John Brennan. But with Brennan, it's just like a buffet of lies. You can literally go through the buffet and pick out which one you want. The guy that replaced me on that committee is a guy named John Lee Ratcliffe, who's the CIA director. So there are not two people in the world who know more about John Brennan's problem with the truth than Kash Patel and John Ratcliffe.
Declassified email to Brennan from former deputy CIA director in 2016, warning Brennan about the credibility or lack thereof of the dossier. This is coming from his deputy at CIA. So in it, the message said that including the dossier in the ICA in any capacity jeopardized, quote, the credibility of the entire paper, this deputy said. And added, Brennan ultimately formalized his position in writing, stating, this is Brennan, that, quote, my bottom line is that I believe that the information warrants inclusion in the report. Completely different from what he said to you in that soundbite, Trey.
No, it's worse than that, Martha. He and Comey insisted that it be included. And why did they insist? Because their hatred for Donald Trump. Look, we knew Brennan hated Donald Trump. It just took a little longer for Comey's hatred to manifest itself. But what we're seeing now is it existed all along. Their hatred for Donald Trump trumped or overcame their objectivity. They're the ones who insisted that something that really wouldn't be fit for the National Enquirer. I mean, it's literally paid for by the opposition. Judges have criticized it. We went back and said, okay, Brennan said you made efforts to corroborate the dossier. Let us see where you tried to do it. And it's just a blank piece of paper. They made no effort. I wouldn't be surprised, Martha, if we didn't figure out those two were behind the leaks to the media. What they really wanted is the media to report Trump is under investigation for ties to Russia. So they got what they wanted. They didn't get the result they wanted, which was him losing the election.
Brennan made numerous willfully and intentionally false statements when he testified in front of his congressional committee under oath, lying when he said the CIA did not use the Steele dossier for an intelligence assessment in Russia, and all that.
We always knew Brennan was a bad guy. I mean, he was a total partisan. He abused the powers of his office back in the Obama administration. He tried to block President Trump after President Trump was duly elected, and we spent. I was a freshman House member back in 2017 and 2018, and what Brennan and these guys did to derail President Trump, who was elected by the American people, to prevent him from doing what he was elected to do, to save the country. It's reprehensible, and he should be held accountable for he and so many others should be held accountable for how they abuse their power.
Well, I'd love to see everybody involved in this. It could be proven that they committed a crime, go to jail. Almost of equal importance, we have to find out exactly what happened and make sure we put safeguards in place that this can never happen again. This undermines our country, and for a democratic republic, the people have to believe in its government. And right now, that's in jeopardy.